What if the key to becoming truly respected by a woman lies not in what you reveal, but in what you choose to keep hidden? Picture this: a man who speaks of every struggle, broadcasts every dream, and displays every emotion like an open wound seeking sympathy. Now imagine another man, equally vulnerable beneath the surface, but who carries himself with quiet dignity, facing life's storms with composure and inner strength. Which man commands deeper respect? Which man appears more capable, more trustworthy, more worthy of admiration? The answer reveals an uncomfortable truth about human nature and relationships that the ancient Stoics understood 2,500 years ago. The Stoics, those philosophical warriors of ancient Greece and Rome, recognized a profound principle about personal power and dignity. They taught that we have no control over anything external to us, whether that's other people, unfolding events, or the circumstances life throws our way. The only domain where we reign supreme is within ourselves, over our own judgments, our decisions, and our actions. Foundational principle: the Stoics possessed a nuanced understanding of human relationships, particularly between men and women, that challenges much of what modern culture tells us about vulnerability and emotional transparency. One of the central pursuits in Stoicism is the conquest of destructive emotions, those turbulent forces like anger, fear, envy. The Stoics argued with compelling logic that these emotions do not arise from external events themselves, but from false or irrational beliefs about what constitutes good and bad in life. By examining and correcting these beliefs, we free ourselves from emotional slavery and step into authentic freedom. This process of emotional mastery becomes particularly relevant when we consider how a man conducts himself in relationships with women. The Stoic philosophers believed firmly in treating everyone with kindness, justice, and respect, regardless of gender, status, or background. This wasn't mere politeness, but a moral imperative rooted in their understanding of shared humanity. However, they also issued warnings about the dangers and temptations that arise from sexual desires and attachments, advising careful and thoughtful conduct in dealings with the opposite sex. This might sound contradictory at first, treating women with complete respect while simultaneously maintaining certain boundaries, but the Stoics saw no contradiction. They understood that respect and discretion are not opposites but complementary virtues. What we're exploring here is not about deception or playing games. It's not about treating women as adversaries or maintaining artificial distance. Rather, it's about understanding a deeper truth about human psychology and the dynamics of attraction and respect. There are certain aspects of a man's inner world that, when displayed too freely or without discrimination, can undermine his position, not because women are judgmental or shallow, but because human beings naturally respect those who demonstrate self-mastery and inner strength. This applies regardless of gender, but manifests differently in romantic dynamics between men and women. The first thing a Stoic man must exercise discretion about is his weaknesses. In the philosophy of Stoicism, a true practitioner embodies principles that guide his response to life's inevitable challenges and personal limitations. One cornerstone lies in the belief that the only true measure of character is how someone responds to adversity. When facing personal weaknesses, the Stoic man rises above the natural human inclination to complain or seek solace through acknowledgement of his pain from others. This doesn't mean he pretends weaknesses don't exist or that he never struggles. Rather, it means he doesn't make his struggles everyone else's emotional burden. The Stoic concept of enduring everything with fortitude encompasses various virtues: patience, forbearance, resignation, fortitude, and endurance. Critically, this isn't about suppressing emotions or denying pain exists. Instead, he faces challenges with a calm and rational mind, understanding that while external circumstances may be beyond his control, his response to those circumstances remains entirely within his power. This is where true freedom lives, in the space between what happens to us and how we choose to respond. The Stoic man does not seek sympathy or pity from others, not even from those closest to him, whether that's his romantic partner or wife. Stoicism places extraordinary value on self-sufficiency, cultivating an inner strength that doesn't depend on others' acknowledgement or emotional support to remain intact, while conventional wisdom insists that sharing vulnerabilities and seeking support demonstrates strength. Stoicism offers a different, perhaps more challenging perspective. The Stoic man understands there's genuine power in enduring suffering in silence, not for the sake of appearing tough or impressive, but as a means of cultivating a resilient and composed spirit. This silence isn't emotional suppression or unhealthy repression. It's a conscious choice to respond to difficulties with unwavering inner strength rather than broadcasting every struggle for sympathy or validation. Crucially, the Stoic man refuses to allow his weaknesses to erode his confidence or self-esteem. Instead, he views these weaknesses as raw material for growth and self-improvement. In the Stoic worldview, every challenge and hardship becomes a crucible for forging stronger, more virtuous character. It's through acknowledging weaknesses privately that the Stoic man finds the material for his own transformation. To the Stoic, life is a continuous journey of self-discovery and self-mastery where each trial isn't an obstacle but a stepping stone, a chance to refine the art of living with virtue. In embracing this philosophy, he finds profound purpose and fulfillment in the very act of facing life's uncertainties with poise and inner strength. The second aspect requiring discretion involves demanding mistakes. In Stoic philosophy, the approach to handling errors is deeply insightful, particularly when considering relationship dynamics. From a Stoic perspective, mistakes aren't merely oversights or failures but critical stepping stones on the path toward wisdom and self-improvement. A Stoic man therefore navigates his mistakes with a blend of humility, diligence, and introspective learning, but he does so largely in private rather than making his learning process everyone else's concern. A key aspect of the Stoic approach involves not revealing mistakes indiscriminately, especially to a woman in ways that might be misconstrued as signs of ignorance or folly. This perspective isn't about hiding imperfections out of shame or fear but roots itself in understanding that mistakes are personal learning experiences. The Stoic man recognizes that sharing every error might not contribute constructively to a relationship or conversation. Sometimes, working through mistakes internally and presenting the improved version of yourself demonstrates more respect for others than involving them in every stumble along your journey. In the eyes of a Stoic, humility and diligence guide one's response to mistakes. The Stoic man understands that to err is human, but he doesn't make mistakes lightly. He approaches tasks and decisions with careful thought and consideration, minimizing error likelihood. This embrace happens largely in private reflection rather than public confession. Learning from mistakes stands as a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Moreover, the Stoic man practices discipline and perseverance in correcting his mistakes, understanding that improvement is continuous and requires consistent effort. He doesn't allow errors to define him but uses them as catalysts for positive change and self-enhancement. Taking responsibility represents another fundamental Stoic principle. The Stoic man doesn't indulge in the blame game, neither blaming others nor wallowing in self-blame. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus eloquently captured this essence when he said that it's not the things that happen to us that trouble us, but our opinions about them. The Stoic perspective on dreams and aspirations roots itself deeply in a philosophy of realism, pragmatism, and self-sufficiency. From a Stoic viewpoint, dreams and aspirations shouldn't be confused with fanciful illusions or unattainable fantasies. Instead, they're meaningful pursuits aligning with one's values and capabilities. A Stoic man exercises caution about sharing his dreams, not out of secrecy but to avoid the trap of vanity and the quest for external validation. This restraint is an indication of lacking ambition but reflects the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within one's control and influence. In Stoic thought, the pursuit of dreams isn't driven by desire for recognition or approval from others, including romantic partners. He understands that pursuing external validation can lead to disappointment and detracts from genuine self-improvement. He doesn't rely on others to shape or endorse his aspirations. This self-reliance is not rejection of support from others but affirmation of his ability to direct his life's course. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, encapsulated this philosophy in his profound observation that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This statement underscores the Stoic belief that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, shaped by the quality and nature of one's thoughts and perspectives. In the rich philosophical landscape of Stoicism, the Stoic man's relationship with his feelings and emotions is a nuanced exploration of self-awareness, mindfulness, and deliberate management of internal states. Contrary to misconceptions that Stoicism requires emotional suppression, the Stoic man doesn't seek to stifle his feelings. Instead, he embraces them with keen awareness and mindfulness. By acknowledging and understanding his feelings, the Stoic man gains deeper self-understanding and is better equipped to navigate life's complexities. While the Stoic man is attuned to his emotions, he exercises discretion when it comes to expressing them to others. This choice isn't about feigning emotional indifference but stems from a genuine desire to communicate emotions in a manner that's appropriate and beneficial to those around him. He understands that indiscriminate displays of emotions, even to his romantic partner or wife, may not always contribute positively to relationship dynamics. The Stoic man's decision to withhold certain emotions from others also roots itself in his commitment to project a rational and calm demeanor. The fifth thing, demanding careful discretion, involves a man's secrets. This perspective shapes how a Stoic man approaches sharing his secrets, particularly in the context of his interactions with a woman. The Stoic approach to secrets isn't about secrecy for its own sake but about understanding the value of privacy and the importance of maintaining one's dignity. From a Stoic viewpoint, secrets are considered reflections of one's inner life and personal experiences. They are closely guarded not because they necessarily contain anything shameful or nefarious, but because they represent aspects of one's privacy and personal dignity. A Stoic man values the sanctity of his inner world and understands that not all aspects of his life need to be shared with others, even those closest to him. Discretion is a key virtue in Stoic thought, and it guides the Stoic man in his interactions with others. He refrains from gossip and slander, recognizing that such behaviors not only betray the trust of others but also diminish his own character. He chooses to keep his mouth shut, not out of fear of exposure but out of respect for the privacy of himself and others. Honor and trustworthiness are central to the Stoic character. The Stoic man is committed to keeping his word and maintaining his integrity. He avoids betraying or deceiving others, recognizing that such actions would compromise his moral principles and erode the trust others place in him. His commitment to honor extends to how he handles his own secrets as well as those entrusted to him by others. The Stoic man's approach to secrets is also characterized by a protective and respectful attitude. He doesn't reveal or exploit secrets, whether his own or those of others. Instead, he protects them, understanding that doing so is a form of respecting the dignity and privacy of individuals. Self-trust is a fundamental aspect of the Stoic's handling of secrets. The Stoic man trusts himself with his secrets, relying on his own judgment and discretion to determine what should be shared and what should remain private. This self-trust isn't an indication of isolation or mistrust of others but a reflection of his confidence in his ability to manage his own inner world. Cicero, the Stoic orator, eloquently expressed the essence of this philosophy when he said that the most sacred thing in the world is the human soul. The sixth aspect requiring discretion involves a man's pains. From a Stoic viewpoint, openly displaying one's pains, particularly in the context of a romantic relationship, might be perceived as a sign of suffering and misery. Instead, he bears his pains with grace and gratitude. This choice is unrooted in a masochistic desire for suffering but in the understanding that enduring pain with grace is a transformative process. The Stoic man recognizes that pain, like any other aspect of life, can be an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. The Stoic philosophy encourages a distinctive perspective on seeking relief for pain. The Stoic man doesn't actively seek comfort or immediate relief from his pains. Instead, he sees pain as a challenge that invites him to grow stronger. By reframing pain as an opportunity for challenge and growth, he transforms the experience into a meaningful and transformative aspect of his journey. This analogy underscores the Stoic belief that challenges and difficulties, symbolized by the metaphorical fire, are opportunities for individuals to reveal their true character and resilience. The Stoic man embraces this test with courage and fortitude, understanding that his response to pain defines him more than the pain itself. The seventh thing demanding discretion involves a man's pleasures. This perspective is especially salient in the context of a Stoic man's interactions and relationships with women. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and self-mastery, provides a nuanced understanding of pleasure, viewing it as a potential source of indulgence and addiction if not approached with caution and restraint. For the Stoic man, pleasure isn't inherently negative, but it's the relationship with pleasure that demands careful consideration. The Stoic man enjoys pleasures but always with a consciousness of their transient nature and potential to distract from more meaningful pursuits. Craving and coveting pleasures are seen as pathways to dissatisfaction and turmoil. The Stoic man therefore cultivates an attitude of non-attachment towards pleasures. In his interactions with women, the Stoic man remains guided by the principle of self. He doesn't seek to satisfy his pleasures through external sources, including relationships. Instead, he maintains a focus on regulating his desires and pleasures internally, aligning them with his Stoic virtues. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, encapsulates this ethos with his profound insight that freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire. This statement highlights the Stoic belief that true freedom and contentment come from mastering one's desires and impulses rather than being led by them. The eighth and final thing requiring discretion is a man's love. In the context of Stoicism, the concept of love is approached with a unique perspective that emphasizes independence, self-sufficiency, and rationality. A Stoic man, guided by the principles of Stoicism, approaches love in a manner that's free from excessive attachment and dependence. This viewpoint is crucial in understanding the Stoic approach to romantic relationships and emotional bonds. For a Stoic man, love isn't about losing oneself in another or becoming overly attached. Instead, it's about loving with reason and freedom. He sees love as an emotion that should be guided by wisdom and rational understanding. Moreover, the Stoic man does undemand or expect love in a way that places a burden on the relationship. Instead, he appreciates and cherishes the love he receives, understanding that love is a gift to be valued, not a right to be claimed. This approach fosters a sense of gratitude and mindfulness in his relationships, enhancing the quality and depth of his emotional connections. Importantly, the Stoic man doesn't feel the need to constantly express his love through words alone. He believes that true love is shown through actions and behaviors that demonstrate care, understanding, and support. These 8 aspects represent what a man must exercise discretion about according to Stoicism. It means a man should be honest and loyal, but also discreet and modest. It means he should be warm and affectionate, but also rational and independent. It means a man should be a man, not a boy seeking constant validation and reassurance. By exercising discretion about these things, a man doesn't hide himself from a woman but reveals his true self to her. He reveals his virtue, which is the only thing that truly matters in life. This is the Stoic way of living and the Stoic way of loving.